All right, so next question. I'm actually very interested to hear your thoughts on this one. So, Nick Diaz's manager was pretty certain that he was going to make his return in 2021. So, I'm wondering, what do you think the effect will be on the UFC, and what fights do you think he has coming up?
Yeah, Nick Diaz is interesting because it's even up in the air if his brother Nate is going to fight in 2021. But we talked about it before. We all thought that Nick might fight in 2020. But we never got to see that. We only got hints slash highlights of Nick working out. He was showing off doing some pad work and stuff like that. Doesn't really give us a good understanding of where he's at because it's not like he's fighting anybody. But it did show us that he was training and he was getting ready. Now, the kind of sad part about this is that a lot of his career got shut down by some minor drug cases, saying marijuana issues. So that shut down a lot of his career. When the fact is if that same case was happening in 2021, he wouldn't have to face all of these issues. But the thing is that we also got to understand that during this time, Nick had a lot of businesses. He has a lot of stuff that he's doing on the side, and he was making money. He was making a good living. So the thing is, will he be ready to jump back in that cage? It's the same effect that Conor might have had in some of his past fights, where he might have been too content with all the money that he was making outside of the UFC. Is Nick Diaz ready to fight again? This guy was on such a stint in the UFC and in other organizations. He's been fighting for a long time. He's had a lot of fights. And for him to take this kind of break might be the best thing for him. But this back and forth of saying, I remember he had that interview with Ariel Helwani and then came out again, and his manager was saying in 2020 that he was going to fight, and now he's saying in 2021 that he's going to fight. You just got to make up your mind and just do it. Fighting is not one of those things where you can have one foot in and one foot out. You either got to train and go hard or just retire. This in and out kind of thing is kind of frustrating, but it's also, you should kind of pick whatever you want to do, because he's not getting any younger. And the fights that he's going to have in the UFC, I think it's going to have to be someone we got to see where he's at, right? Like, the UFC is not one of those places that you can get easy fights. But for Nick Diaz, with the name that he has, I think you got to figure out where he is. You got to give him a fight where we can determine what level he's at. So then we can find out who he fights next. But the other thing is, on the flip side, Nick Diaz is not going to fight no chump. He's not going to fight anybody with no name. He has to fight a name. But we need to figure out who. I mean, some of the older fighters, like Robbie might be a good example, maybe someone he could fight. But Robbie Lawler is still, he can bring it back every once in a while. It's got to be someone in his league, but still have this star power.